I gotta say something real quick. If for some reason some of you have clicked on this video and you are not up to date with this sad episode, I do not recommend you to continue on, because this video contains major spoilers on the endgame of Boku dake. And because I know many would not want this spoil for them if for some reason you accidentally clicked on the video and didn't read the entirety of it, or if you did not know what was going to be in question in this said episode, I do not recommend you to continue on. So now that that is out of the way, because I just want to add a quick disclaimer, this episode, it finally reveals who the killer is. And honestly, am I upset? That's what many most likely might be talking about, because we found out the killer was the teacher. And I remember in the first episode, when I started the series, I talked about the possibilities of who might be, suspect, and I talked about the teacher, because it seemed like it was a very obvious choice. And because it was so obvious, and because of the candy thing, and because of all these different things through recent episodes, it just felt way too obvious for the killer to be the teacher. He fit the description of being the killer, but it felt too obvious, and because of that, it made me turn a blind eye to the real person, the culprit in front of me, which was, in fact, the teacher. So, am I upset? I would have been upset if it was executed differently, but because the way this episode was orchestrated and the way it built up to the reveal, along with that cliffhanger, I felt like it makes up for anything. For the killer being the teacher, it makes up for it, because the way it was done, when the teacher's like, I know what you were doing. I've been watching you this entire time, ruin my plans over and over again. And I love the reveal of that, because that's something many of us have kind of thrown off the table, because when we started Boku dake, we always thought maybe our character, MC Satoru, is invincible, because he can go back in the past, he saved many people and made their lives a whole lot better, and that's kind of been one of the main themes of the series. I mean, he's back in past, for fuck's sake, just to save people. And when you see this episode, it opens your eyes up to one key moment. Out of the entirety of Boku dake, Satoru has, in a way, kind of been unhappy, because he has sacrificed everything to make sure everybody else can live on. For instance, what he's done with Kaio and everyone else, he has went out of his way, even though his mother is technically dead, he has went out of his way to kind of change things, which in a way would save his mother, but he's been saving constant amount of people. And because of this, he's constantly made everybody else happy, but the end result was, he's not happy. And that is the sad realization we got with this episode, because we always looked at Satoru as he's invincible. He goes back in time, he saves people, everything is fine. But we never looked at the fact is what if the killer catches on? What if the killer realizes something's fucking going on, this kid is fucking with my plans, and I am going to kill him? That's pretty much what the killer is thinking. And we didn't think about that. And when we see this episode of how the killer's been watching Satoru, been, placing bait here and there to see if he bites onto it, and to see if the killer or Satoru knows what the killer is doing, and we see how it was revealed to us, it opens your eyes. You're like, oh my god. And Satoru gets plunged in water, and I'm like, what the fuck? What the fuck? Because what makes you really realize what's so sad about this episode wasn't the fact that he died. It wasn't just that. It wasn't just the fact that Satoru is drowning and he's pretty much dead. It's that when you see the multiple flashbacks through the series of Boku dake, you see all the things or all the people that Satoru has helped. He's saved many people, and when he sees the future people he's met, acquaintances, his mother and stuff, and you see how, like, this timeline, as it's wrapping around, you see it, like, breaking these different things he's seen, and in a way it was showing that he saved so many people, he's made so many people happy, but the end result left him unhappy and hurting his mother, because what do you think's going to happen when his mother finds out he's dead? Well, obviously, she's going to be upset, and she's going to want to try to find the killer, which might end up her dying. So, overall, the way this episode was done, it was tasteful enough to where I'm not going to feel bad that it was the teacher. Because if it would have been any other way, if it would have been handled any other way, I probably would have been upset with this episode, with the reveal of the teacher. But thanks to the way it was done, especially with how the ending result of this was done with, you know, Satoru drowning. Good episode, yeah. Now, do I think Satoru is dead? That's left up to be discussed later on. Do I think he will die, but maybe come back? Maybe. I mean, I believe something like that might happen, because we do know that there is supernatural elements in the series, and since this has kind of been one of the main things of why Satoru is even here to begin with, there's a possibility either A, Satoru will somehow go back to the future and everything will be kind of changed, or B, you'll have it to where someone else gains his ability and goes back to try to save Satoru. That's a possibility. Like, the remaining episodes of the series might be spent trying to save Satoru from dying to the hands of the teacher, which would be a really fucking cool twist. Like, what if Kaio or, you know, Satoru's mother tried to save Satoru? That would be cool. That would be a really cool twist to the series if you saw how they gain the ability and then all of a sudden they try to save him, and then it leads up to the execution of, you know, the remaining episodes. For instance, the final part where probably the teacher's cuffed and, you know, probably casted away in jail or maybe killed, something like that. So, yeah, I feel like maybe Satoru is not, in fact, completely dead, but how it's done depends on, you know, left up into our hands, or the writer's hands, actually. Like, we have no idea what could possibly happen, because anything can happen from this point onward to the ending of the series. We don't know if Satoru will remain dead, if someone will save him, we don't know if he's somehow going to save himself from the car. We don't know if, for some reason, someone else is going to gain his ability. We don't know if Satoru might go back in the past again to redo events, or go back in the future. We have no idea. So, this is what I like about Boku dake. Now, from this point onward, I can't really make predictions. Even though it was predictable with the teacher, I can't make predictions on how it's going to end, which I'm glad. I'm very glad to see that. So, Boku dake, great episode this week, probably one of the best episodes of the series just because of the way the execution of the killer was done, and along with how the killer was like, I planned this all along, and he was just, you know, going along with Satoru trying to set him up. So yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. How do you feel about the reveal? How do you feel about everything that has happened? I mean, it's crazy. It's really crazy to find out it's a teacher. It reminds me of a certain game I played recently. I think some of you might know. So yeah, love you all. Please be safe. Chibi out.